Hey folks, welcome to another recorded video here at West Yorkshire Retro Gamer. Just a quick review of the football game today between Leeds United and Cardiff City. Leeds gaining a point towards the very end of the game, deep into stoppage time, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Leeds dominated a lot of the game today. As you can see from these stats, if these stats are any close to being accurate, you can clearly see the difference between Leeds and Cardiff. Leeds dominated possession with a whopping 71.8%. 25 attempts on goal compared to Cardiff 7. This is the first disparity of it all, or the first disappointment of it all, that out of those 25 shots on goal, only 6 of them were on target for Leeds. It was very difficult today because we didn't start the game with a recognised striker. Bamford, Rutter and Joseph all injured, and Farker, the manager, decided to put Gellart and Perkins on the bench. But despite that, we still started with, quite an attacking front group of players. Wilfred Nanto, Luis Sinistera, Crescencio Somerville, they all started. And for both goals, they were involved. So there's enough creativity. You can tell just by the number of chances that were created there that there was enough attacking intent. But we've got to be far more clinical. We need a striker who is going to help us get somewhere closer to 50% of the total shots on target, rather than just over a fifth of them. It's going to be crucial if we're going to have any chance of automatic promotion this season. Because again, if you look at that, 6 on target, 7 off target, and then I think, as you can see there, the rest of the shots then were blocked. So half of the shots we had on target were blocked, near enough. Cardiff played a very compact, very defensive setup when Leeds were on the attack, and understandably so. Most teams will do that because you look at the attacking players that Leeds do have. You're not going to try and keep things open in the hope that you're going to nick the ball off Leeds easily and then go on the counter attack. It's not going to happen. So Cardiff did keep most of their players behind the ball when Leeds had possession, but Leeds had so much possession today, so much possession. And the thing is that possession is only good when you do something creative with it. And today we did try to do something with that possession. We just lacked a cutting edge. So looking into some of the other stats, passing accuracy, 86.7%. That's not too bad. You always try and aim for at least 90 in a game. So if you get close to that, then you know that your passing's been reasonably accurate. 3 clear-cut chances in the match. Now, if all 3 of those are scored, then we win the match. So, again, it's one of these where when you get clear-cut chances, you've got to score them. And as you can see there, Cardiff scored 2 goals but didn't have any clear-cut chances according to these stats. So what Sky Sports deem to be a clear-cut chance, I don't know. That's suggesting that Cardiff's 2 goals were not clear-cut. It's just a strange thing. Look at the next stat. 10 corners and Cardiff didn't even have any. I mean, it's a bizarre situation if you go through an entire match without having at least one corner kick. So again, if these stats are accurate, that's a that's a bonkers stat there. 6 offsides, there was a few, and a couple of those offsides, if we just stayed onside, I mean, some of them were so marginal. If we stay onside, then we create another chance. You know, there was a couple of them where the player just literally had to look down the line and see where the line of defence was, and then just hang back a little bit, just a tiny bit, and there wasn't enough of that, which was annoying. Because again, we were spending a lot of time in the attacking third. Cardiff had to defend a lot in this match. According to this, 100% tackle success rate. And look at Cardiff, below half. So you would think that defensively we would have been tighter, but we still conceded 2 goals despite that. So, again, a bit of maybe a misleading statistic, that one, I'm not sure. Leeds winning nearly 2/3 of the aerial duels compared to Cardiff winning just over 1/3. Again, it's good to see that Leeds have had some aerial dominance in the game at certain times. Cardiff's goalkeeper Jack Alnwick had to make 4 individual saves there. Ilamelier in the Leeds goal, didn't have much to do apart from watch the ball go past him twice, which again wasn't really his fault entirely. The defence has to be sharper. The big difference today for me was that when Cardiff defended, they defended in packs. They were really compact. They were very difficult to break down. Leeds, aside from their line of defence, didn't feel anywhere near good enough defensively. Too slack at the back. The fact that Cardiff, who struggled to score goals last season, got 2 against us this season in one match already. We've got to defend. If we're going to attack in numbers like we did at times today, we've got to defend in numbers as well. We're playing a 4-2-3-1. What were the 2 midfielders doing? Why did we not have at least 6, 7 or even 8 players defending when Cardiff were on the attack? Because if we'd had that, we might have actually kept Cardiff out. And in the end, it was just slack defending for Cardiff's 2 goals. 10 fouls against 8. I mean, again, mostly caused by the fact that Leeds' attackers were quite tricky, quite decent on the ball. So then, fouls will be committed because the defenders aren't good enough to win the ball. So therefore, they'll take the man out instead and commit a foul. So obviously the stat underneath is obviously reversed. 10 fouls, 1 for Leeds, and 8, 1 for Cardiff. Despite all of that, Leeds ended up with two yellow cards as opposed to Cardiff only getting 1, which again it's a bit of a strange one considering they didn't make quite as many fouls. So again, a bit of a strange start. In the end, realistically on paper we should have beaten Cardiff. In terms of the majority of the performance, we should have beaten Cardiff. But you can't legislate for the 2 errors that we made defensively. Teams will punish us, and against better teams than Cardiff, we will get slaughtered if we defend like that. So the team has got to learn very quickly how to defend under Farke's tactics. They're going to have to learn very quickly because we can't let better teams have those types of chances. If Cardiff can put those chances away, there's about another 3/4 of the division that can put them away as well. So we're going to have to improve defensively. You know, I've said towards the start that we need to buy a striker. Maybe we need another defender. You know, in terms of the players who played today, a couple of our better players were actually a couple of the substitutes. Sam Byram, when he came on, looked very, very decent. Playing at left back, he was a massive upgrade on Hjelde. Hjelde never got forward whatsoever, whereas with Byram, he had that attacking nous to go with his defensive capability as well. Ian Paveda only came on for about 10 minutes, but looked very, very decent again. The two midfielders, Gray and Ampadu, they did pretty well for the majority. Liam Cooper took his goal really well and then unfortunately went off injured. He took a bad landing from the header that he won to score Leeds' first goal. Somerville got Leeds' second goal. Nicely taken finish, really. He kind of slid in and got enough on it, put it in the bottom corner after Sinistera's shot was blocked. You know, there's some promising signs. You know, when you consider that Farker has only been Leeds' manager for a short time, it's going to take time for the players to integrate the style that Farker wants them to play. So, you know, there is hope, and the way I see this is that I'm disappointed that we haven't won the game today based on the dominance, but we were 2-0 down. The fact that we got an early equaliser in the an early first goal in the second half, and then a very, very late equaliser, it shows to me that the team is playing with a lot of spirit and belief and proving that they're not going to give up until that final whistle is blown, which is great. You know, that's the kind of attitude that we need from the players. But, you know, we've got to tighten up in defence and we have got to be more clinical up front. And I know that these sound like basics of playing football, but, you know, at this level, these things are so important. They're important at any level. But when you are, on paper, one of the favourites to win promotion at the end of the season, you don't want a slow start. Now, we'll take a point. You know, I always say that if you can't win a match, make sure that you don't lose it, because every point counts. And this point could be, you know, when you get to the end of the season, this could be looked at as a very important point gained. I'm not of the belief that it's 2 points dropped today on the basis that we were 2-0 down. If it had been the roles reversed, if we'd have been 2-0 up, and then Cardiff get 2 goals to equalise, then it's 2 points dropped for me. And then I'd have been really peeved off if that had happened. When we reached the 90th minute, I honestly didn't think we were going to equalise. We'd had so much attacking possession and a few efforts on goal, and I just thought, you know what, it's not going to happen today. You know, it's just going to be one of those days where we get a bit unlucky. Thankfully that wasn't the case. It was a nice bit of footwork from Sinistera, got his shot away, and then Somerville collected the ball after it had been blocked, slid in his foot, ball went into the bottom corner, Almec with no chance. And in the end, you know, because there was only a minute to go at that point, you know, we held on. We need to learn lessons from today. As far as the players are concerned, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I think that quite a few players who did not start the game today probably will start in the cup game in a couple of days' time. And I think that's going to be important as well. We need to be very careful with a couple of the players. You know, Byram has had fitness issues ever since he left Leeds, and with how good he looks at this moment in time, I wouldn't I wouldn't bother with him in the cup. I really wouldn't. Keep him for the league, because the league is where it's all at now. The league is the most important thing. Um, you know, for me, I would maybe rest Melier, let him focus on the league, play either Darlow or Klassen in goal. At right back, see again, Byram can cover either right or left back. Um, I don't want Drummy at the club, and he's injured anyway. So then, really, the only player we've got available aside from Ayling is Shackleton. But personally, I would like to see Shackleton in midfield because that's his better position. But he can do a job at right back, and against a lower league side that we're playing against in the cup in 3 days' time, I think there's a possibility that Shax may play at right back. If not, then it'd be Ayling. I mean, again, on the flip side of it, we could do with Ayling playing because we're not going to. I don't think we're going to have Cooper. So as I say, Cooper picked up a rather nasty-looking injury. He got stretchered off in today's game. So at left back, I think they'll. As I say, I wouldn't bother with Byram for this. For the cup game. So just play Hyelde. And then at centre back, start Cresswell. Obviously, Cooper, as I say, needs time to obviously recover now after picking up the injury. So it'll probably be Strauch and Cresswell, I would imagine, unless the manager decides that he wants to give Diogo Monteiro a go. Monteiro has been given a squad number, so maybe the young Portugal lad will be given a chance. I don't know. That's entirely up to Daniel Farke. If Shackleton is not required at right back, then I would like to see him play in central midfield. I think it would be important not to push Archie Gray too much. He's still only 17 years old. So again, maybe just save Gray for the league. But then on the flip side, you might look at it and think, well, hold on a minute. We need to make sure that Ampadu's fully fit for the league as well. So, Farke might look to play someone completely different in midfield. Lewis Bate was on the bench today, as was Darko Jaby for that matter. So it wouldn't surprise me if Shackleton maybe plays right back, and then Jaby and Bate take the two midfield slots. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. I think Ian Poveda will play. Again, he looked very good when he came on. He came on for the last 10 minutes of today and looked very good. So I think Poveda will play. Me personally, because my preferences on the wings are the likes of Poveda, or for the wings of the number 10 position, my preferences are Poveda, Sinisterra, Somerville, and Nonto, and Harrison when he gets fit. All of those boys should be able to cover those three positions behind the main striking position. So I would imagine that, for the cup game, I think it would be important to rest probably Nonto and Sinisterra, especially Sinisterra because he, again, had a very bad injury record last season. So it's vital we keep him fit for the league. So again, you're looking at the likes of Somerville, Nonto and Poveda to provide that creativity. But then, as I say, up front, then you're looking at the likes at the moment of Joe Gellart and Sonny Perkins, who both came on as substitutes. I think it would be vitally important to use the two of them in some shape or form for the cup game. Again, it gives them minutes. Helps to get them fit, get them ready if we do need them in the league. I don't think that any players will be signed in time to play for that match on Wednesday. Might sign someone, but they won't be ready, obviously. Because ultimately, there's only 3 days. Um, so yeah, I think that's a rough idea as to how Daniel Farke will go about the cup game. I think he will rest some of the key players from today, because there was a good work ethic. There was a decent amount of energy, in the attacking half, and I think it'll be important to rest a couple of them. It is only one game. They should still be relatively fresh. We're not 20 odd games into the season at this point, so they really shouldn't need a rest as such. But I think it's so important that we don't risk losing some of our best players due to injury because they get injured in a cup match. That won't benefit Leeds at all. So overall today, disappointed we didn't get the 3 points. At least we got a point. You look at some of the results that have happened today. Well, in game week 1, not just today, but Saturday and Friday as well. 1 or 2 surprising results. Millwall beat Middlesbrough. Ipswich beat Sunderland. I think Blackburn beat West Brom. So there's a few games there which, on paper maybe looked a bit more like draws rather than a win for either team. Some of the other results off the top of my head: Southampton beat Sheffield Wednesday, which wasn't much of a surprise. Leicester beat Coventry, but it was a late goal that gave Leicester the win. Again, that's another one that could have been a draw, on paper. After the season that Coventry had last season, they lost in the playoff final, so they'd still be on a relative high for having a pretty good season. Ipswich have just come up from League One, but they were able to beat a team that finished in the playoffs of the Championship. So that's an impressive first win for Ipswich. In terms of the teams that are predicted to be near the bottom, Plymouth got what looks like a very convincing victory over Huddersfield, 3-1. So a good start, for Argyle. So yeah, there's been 1 or 2 shocks. I don't think too many people would have expected Cardiff to get a draw against Leeds at Ellen Road today, but it's happened. But as I say, vitally important we didn't lose today on the basis that we couldn't get the win based on the dominance that we had. So for me, we go into this cup game now. Take a little bit of confidence, in some of the better play that we did today. I would expect that any lineup we put out, we should really be beating our opposition. I think it's Shrewsbury that we're playing, and I'm not sure what division they're in, but they're either League 1 or League 2, so any lineup that we put out really should be good enough. But again, it's a cup game and anything can happen. I'm so not bothered about the cups this season, if I'm honest. This is all about us succeeding in the league and ultimately getting that promotion in 45 games time. The cup game is a good chance to give some other players a chance, and also for them to get a bit of extra fitness on board. It is an opportunity for the likes of Cooper to obviously not play and for him to try and recover from whatever injury he's got. It did look bad. He was stretchered off. He couldn't even walk off, which is really bad news. Whether people rate Cooper or not as a defender, at the end of the day, it's his leadership and his captaincy which is so vital to such a young squad. The squad is very, very young. you only have to look at the players that started today and the ones that were on the bench. It's really young squad, and players like Cooper are vital to for guiding them and just showing a little bit of leadership. So I hope Cooper recovers quickly. I don't know the extent of the injury yet. I don't think it's been announced yet. We'll probably know in the next couple of days once he has scans and tests. I'm sure the club will announce as to roughly how long it will take for Liam Cooper to come back. And then when he does get reasonably fit again, avoid the temptation to just simply put him in for the sake of putting him in. We can't afford for him to miss too many games this season. And in the meantime, let's hope we get some more players signed. Some good quality players, because at the moment we lack a bit of extra quality in certain areas. We really do, and I still think we're good enough to go up. I really do. I still believe in this group of players. As I say, you can't fault the attitude today. They kept digging in, kept trying, kept attacking. It's the minimum that you'd expect. But as I say, it was near total dominance today. 25 shots in a match is a lot of shots. It's a lot of shots in a 90-minute match. So you really need to be scoring more than just 2 goals when you have 25 shots on goal. You've got to be so much more clinical. And this is why the likes of Bamford might help with that. But again, we need to sign someone that's going to be less injured than Bamford. We need to buy a new striker. By hook or crook, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is the point now where we need to find someone who is proven at scoring goals at this level, or a similar equivalent level. The creativity was there. There was good energy. As I say, Ampadu and Gray did a pretty decent job in midfield for the majority. Just a couple of weaknesses that have allowed us to not get 3 points. And the defence starts from the attack and works backwards. And you've got to look at it and think, okay, Ayling was miles out of position for one of the Cardiff goals. However, he had no support from the lads that were in front of him in terms of the defensive work. This has to be rectified quickly. If you're going to play the way that you're going to play, the midfield and the attack have to support the defence. We relied too much on the defence to do all of the defending today, and that won't work. It simply will not work. The reason that Cardiff showed a lot of defensive quality despite conceding 2 goals today was because they defended in numbers, and we didn't. We didn't defend in numbers when it counted, and this is the disappointment. So hopefully the players will learn. Hopefully we're putting a good performance in the cup. Hopefully we don't get any more injuries. We can't afford injuries. And it'd be good for some of the players who didn't play today to get some minutes under the belt and to keep going towards their fitness. So after that then, it's all about what we do in the second league game of the season. And again, at the very, very least, if we don't win, please make sure you don't lose. Every point is going to be vital. The longer that we can stay unbeaten this season, the more chance we've got of going up. Even if it does involve a few draws in there, draws and wins will get you promoted. Losses will mess things up. And I know that sounds pretty, obvious, but it's how it goes. So do please give the video a like. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I will talk to you all again soon. Have a great night, and see you next time. Bye bye.